Atlanta's Inspiration Station, Praise 102.5. It's KD Bowe Show. Godly, this dude right here.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Godly, this dude right here. Donald Lawrence is in the building. What's up, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's glad to be here. See you doing your thing. You've been doing it for a long time, man.
Hey, man,
Yeah.
I remember I came to.
You got that voice.
Hey,
that
man,
voice.
you know, I got it on layaway. I'm doing what I can. So, I went in Charlotte, and we were at A.L. Genright's church.
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah.
And I remember the thoughts that I was having about you, because you were directing the choir. What were you doing there? You was doing something.
You know what? I used to attend Salem. That was Elgin Rice Church.
Yeah.
But I wasn't in the music department. It just probably had me do something that particular time. Because when I was there, a lot of churches I've never been on staff. But if I'm there and the pastor asks me to do something, the choir asks me to do something, I just do it.
You've always been a dude that's been super, super humble, man, and I think that says a lot about your character.
That's funny because people say that all the time, but
You're really arrogant?
no, I just think that I just say I'm just being me. I don't even know if I call it humble. This is my personality. So if that's what you want to call it, this is just who I am. I'm not trying to be humble. I'm not trying to be arrogant. This is just me.
I'm just being me.
Yeah, I'm just being me. That's it.
So dude, this song with Leandria, "Deliver Me." Okay, first of all, I didn't know. So it's a part of the Goshen project.
Right, exactly. It's part of it.
I thought, I didn't know it was a part of that project.
Yeah, it's part of that project. Second single.
But what tripped me out was the fact that Leandria, was going through all the things that she was going through. And when I heard the song, I was like, whoa, okay, man, she must have just got right out of rehab. And he said, hey, Leandria, come on in the studio. Let's do this. Let me minister to you.
Right. Man. I had the idea of
But that didn't happen like that.
Nah, it happened. I had the idea of her singing that song January 2018. I taught it to her in May 2018. And we started singing it on the McDonald's tour all last year. So she was singing it live before I even recorded it.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we recorded it in July. And, it just kind of was just there, But I think that, it just felt right. I could hear her singing it. So I'm not surprised at the impact that it's having because I could just hear her singing it. But not just for her, but it's just a lot of people who I think are in their head. And what I mean by that is they just really can't get past things that's happened to them in the past, and it causes you to act a certain way, but it doesn't mean they're bad people. It's just they haven't gotten over their past. And our mind realm, our heart realm, our soul realm really, really influences the brain. And the brain causes us to act out those things. So if we could always look at people's spirit and not their hearts and souls, because that's a different space, I think it would change how we deal with people. That's how I personally think.
You sound so much like Bill Winston.
Oh yeah, that's my dad. That's my dad, man. That's one of the biggest influences in my life. So yeah, you're right.
So when you're talking to people who are having a bit of a troubled life or troubled present or past or whatever, you being, first of all, do you think you're the OG in the room?
I never think that.
No?
I think that somewhere I got stuck as a kid. I think I still think my brain is maybe 20 or 30, 29, 30, something like that. So I never think that. But then when I started talking, then I go oh, wait a minute. I am kind of older than everybody. And I kind of.
Not even older, but just
more experienced.
Yes.
Now, I always think I'm in tune. I might be a little bit more in tune than everybody. But I just go okay, wait till everybody else gets there and don't say too much,
Yeah, okay.
So I've kind of been that as well.
But you don't really push what you're saying. You don't really push.
No, because I think that you can't wake people up. I think they wake up when they wake up. If you push, it just makes people go another way. And I've always felt that way. So that's why I don't sit back and have an opinion about where somebody is, because I think everybody just wakes up when they wake up. And if you think like that, you won't be judging everybody. You won't be looking down on everybody. It's just oh well, they'll get there eventually. And if they don't, then that's not their path. Or I just drop seeds every now and then, but I don't.
That's some good stuff. Everybody wake up when they wake up.
They wake up when they wake up. I learned that long ago because early on, because I'm.
Oh, that's good.
I'm one of those people that's I comparing a lot, so I'm always trying to make sure everybody is safe and everybody's okay, and that you don't go down that road because it's going to be this. But I learned that you got to just wait and let people wake up when they wake up, because if you try to guide them, it pushes them another way. They get, they fight back, and so I just learned not to do that.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so you are a connoisseur of music. I mean, we know that. You know a lot of music. What would somebody be surprised with knowing that Donald Lawrence be banging this in his Nissan Sentra?
They would probably be surprised And probably some of the hip hop stuff I listen to, and probably, well, maybe not the fact that one of my favorite music is big band swing. So I listen
Really?
to, oh, it's my favorite music. Yeah,
Like,
always has. Yeah, big band swing. Like I listen to Sinatra, I listen to Mel Torme, I listen to
well, Sinatra is.
yeah, I listen to Tony Bennett's my favorite. I listen to Nat, but I listen to Mel Torme. He was great, boy. He just, and those melodies, the instrumentation. I really listen to a lot of big band swing. Yeah, that's a big art form. My big
Hey, man,
influence.
yeah. So when I think about gospel music, let me turn this curve with you.
Okay.
So when we talk about gospel has taken its lumps over the
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Because it's a little different now because people look at it from a perspective of it's not making a bunch of money
Right.
and you know, all that. I won't get too
Right.
deep with that.
I understand. Yeah.
When you think about gospel, because you still do it, you could have done any genre, and you've done other genres, producing and what have you.
Yeah.
But you've stuck with being a gospel artist. Why? Or
Because
do you feel like you're a gospel artist?
well, I just feel like I do music. That's the one particular
Very
art form
good.
everybody knows me from.
Very good.
Because it's more of the platform you've seen me on. But I think me personally, I'm probably a cross between gospel and musical theater because Broadway always was my biggest passion, my study. When it comes to me sticking with gospel music or theatrical kind of things, I think that, you know what, you could try to do something else. But the one thing about art, when you do it, especially if it's going to be commerce for you as well, it doesn't do well if you haven't lived it. And I can't really say I've lived in other genres that much other than gospel, maybe theater, and then some R&B because that was my tenure as well. So you
With
get a
Stephanie,
blend,
yeah,
with
yeah.
Stephanie, and just in the whole late 80s, early 90s of R&B, I was just there. I was actually doing more professional stuff there than before I came into gospel. So just that era is in me as well, like the Teddy era and that whole, that's what really, Teddy Riley really is the person who inspired me to produce. That
Teddy Riley.
hands down. That's my biggest influence to one. I never wanted to produce until I heard his stuff. I heard his beats and I felt it felt like church to me mixed with urban. And I just was like, this is what I want to do. And that's what made Tri-City start out with doing choir and beats. It was
that old Peter? That was old Peter.
It was that, but it was before that. If you hear our very first record with a personal friend of mine, if you go back and listen to it, it's just it's loops and choir and live. And I just said, why can't choirs do this? Because I watched Teddy and all of them do it. And I remember going in the studio and studying Teddy's tracks because I was MDing for Stephanie, and to duplicate her live show, you had to go study what everybody did in the studio. And then I was like, oh, this is how you produce. And that's what really woke that up in me. And I just seemed like it would be great if we could just do this kind of thing, but put a choir behind it and just let the choir song sit on top of it. And I had a lot of songs and I just kind of merged the worlds. And that's really what started the whole Tri-City kind of thing. And probably most of what you hear now when it comes to choirs and beats, because they really wasn't doing that in like the late 80s or early 90s.
No, you did that. Yeah, you definitely started that.
Yeah.
When you forecast your life, for the 300-400 more years that you're gonna live, okay? Like, what does that look like, man? I mean, for me, when I think about it, I see a businessman. I see a man that's making a lot of money, creating quite a bit of wealth for my children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren.
Yeah.
And I want to do it through this medium that we call gospel or faith-based or inspirational. I can't say that I'm 100% confident that I will be able to. For you've been doing this for how many years?
Like 25 plus.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Well over 25 years.
Yeah,
Anything you've been doing for well over 25 years, if you're not great at it, and you are, if you have not perfected it, and you have, you should have, in my opinion, the bank account, the fiscal situation to go along with that to be not just happy, but like really, really wealthy. For you, I took a long way to ask this.
I got you.
For you, do you see the bulk of your wealth coming from gospel?
I see the bulk of my wealth coming from, I would say gospel. But the one thing about being an entrepreneur is you got to put it back in. So I can't ever say that I haven't made a lot of money. But
Tell me what that means. What do you mean?
You got to put it back in to make money. You got to go back and invest in studio. You got to go back and invest in sometimes radio indie. A lot of stuff. I have always done a lot myself. Like whatever I got, I put it back into. I got people I got to pay. I got singers. I got one thing I'll say, and I love it. I will say I love them to death. I was like, boy, if you hadn't had a choir for like 15 years, how
Right.
much money you would have been able
That's
to
true.
save from moving people around.
But you
So,
took care of your people.
yeah, I took care of my people, and I'm like that to this day. I just have always that. So it's not that I'm not blessed, but I would probably be way more blessed if I had done that. But I think that where I am now is other things that I want to do, and I really do feel like that's where my biggest blessings come from.
Like what? I mean, like,
I mean, like
if
I,
you had
I
to do it
really,
again, would you have made the same decisions, or would you have invested differently, bought some, like Hez, he's got that, 240 unit spot in Brooklyn, and, that's like, what, 60, $80 million or something like that?
Oh yeah, and I know a lot about his story with that, but I think that his path was to start a church and to start a ministry and do that.
Sure.
That was never that ain't
Sure.
my path. I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
I
but
don't,
never
I don't
seen
have the heart for
Pastor
it.
Donald Lawrence.
I don't have the heart for it. No, I mean, no, I think I'm a counselor, and I think I might could do that, but not from a pastoral perspective like that. Not like a church. That's just not me.
But the things that you would want to invest in and do differently.
Oh yeah, it would definitely be. Definitely be real estate, and it would definitely be education though too. I think that there's a lot to be done with education. Me personally, my passion would be opening a theater. That would be that would be one thing I would love to do.
Where would it be?
It'd probably be in Chicago.
Chicago theater.
I love a theater is great in Chicago. It's similar to New York, and it's powerful, and it's stuff that it's a great theater place. That'd be one thing. I write a lot of TV decks, so I really write. I have just a lot of like television ideas, but I write a lot. I've learned how to write a lot of decks for pitches, so that'll probably be one of the next places I really kind of look at. Really,
dude, you probably could have already done that though.
I think you have to grow into it though. See, I don't think I was ready.
Really?
Yeah, I might have had the ideas, but it didn't.
You don't see yourself like I see you. That you clearly don't.
But you know why? Probably because I don't like to be the dumb one in the room, and if I don't really know a lot about it, I stay back. That's just my cautiousness. I don't like to just go randomly in there and just go like, I have this, but I don't know how this works and this. I've never been that dude. So now I kind of get it. I know who I'm talking to. I know their rhythm. I know how to talk to them to get the best pitch. So I'm better at that now. I don't think that I was like maybe like even 10 years ago.
I got you.
Yeah. So.
Well, I appreciate you, man, and of course, I've learned so much about you.
Thanks,
we were in downtown Atlanta, and we had that conversation about a graphic that I saw about introverted versus extroverted.
Oh yeah.
And I learned so much about you just by watching. I said, dude, this is Donald Lawrence.
Yeah,
he's a very introverted dude.
Yeah, I'm introverted. Yeah.
And when I learned that, I was like, man, I've been coming at this dude wrong for years.
Yeah,
and I had no idea.
Yeah, we just introverted doesn't necessarily mean shy. It doesn't mean like. It just means we just kind of, I always say this, we live on the inside and we come out and communicate and then we go back in.
You got to open the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I can't knock.
Yeah.
You got to open that door. If I'm ever in.
People who are introverted also tend to have heightened sensitivity. So therefore they're a little bit more empathic. And when they come out and do stuff, they feel everybody. Like I can go to an event and I just feel the whole room. And then by the time I leave there, I'm exhausted. But I think introverts are like that. And if you read up on them, it'll tell you they have empathic qualities, that they just absorb energy from everywhere. So therefore, they kind of wipe out. And that's why they kind of, after they go do something with a lot of people, they have to go back and recharge because it just drains them. Yeah.
All right, man. So a final thing. I know you're about to do BET Sunday Best and what have you, and much success to all of them.
Yeah.
I think that the most success that we'll have is when we duplicate ourselves.
Absolutely.
Have you found that person or found a way to duplicate yourself?
I think that I have found a way to do that, and I'm going to do it even more. I'm really working on some foundational things, and I just want to kind of really, I've been one of those people, and I don't mean to dance around it, but I've been one of those people that have taught the people around me how to do a lot of things. So when I see them out doing what they're doing, I really do see myself, but I did that for them, not for me. If that makes any sense. Like,
really?
And I'm probably one of the few people that I just feel so good when I help everybody else. And I don't mean that from I really don't mean like from a spiritual, like I'm just trying to be a goody two-shoe place. I really do. If I want to feel good, if I can go help somebody do something, it makes my day. Like if I have the worst day, the minute I can go help somebody do something, it just all of a sudden releases dopamine in my brain and I feel better. And then that's for real. That's not church or Bible or anything. It's just how I'm put together. Yeah. And everybody's not put together that way, and it's cool, but that's how I'm put together. So when I see like Arnita Wilson and Toby and Tommy and the Merles and Dwayne and Sherry, all of them do that, like I watch them all. They can come and do what I do, and it just makes me sit back and go like, okay, I see y'all.
That's a reach.
Yeah,
Doing what you can do. Okay, that's a little
you'd
reach.
be surprised
but okay.
though. You'd be surprised.
Oh,
like,
no,
you
no.
know,
I would truly be surprised then.
yeah. So there, so I see that, but doing some foundational things that I'm working on, and definitely my next is calling me because every time I turn around, there's somebody asking me to do something. So I know the next thing now I'll probably do is something that's really serious theater, like serious theater, like serious theater. Yeah,
Good stuff.
that's for sure.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey man, I wrote a thing. I can let you see a little later.
Okay. Yeah, but I plan on definitely do that. That's really cool. And I worked on BB's show for a while. The show's going to Broadway soon. It's called Born for
Born
This.
to Sing.
Yeah, Born for This. Yeah,
Born
for This.
my bad.
Yeah,
Born for This. You're right.
Yeah, I worked on the choral score for him, and I've watched it evolve from when we did it here in Atlanta to DC to Santa Monica, and then the last show, which was his best show, and was in Boston. And Boston is that that classic theater place, got great reviews. So he's just waiting on a theater in New York, and it's going to Broadway. So I watched that process. But in the same time, if you ever get a chance, listen to Goshen from top to bottom. It's going to be something unique.
I've danced around with it, but I will
you
definitely.
You got to listen story form, so you got to listen from beginning to end to really get it. So,
good stuff. One final thing, and I'm gonna let you go.
Sure, I'm good. I love talking to you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. So when you meet him, like who would you get? Who do you get nervous around? Who do you like wig out?
Yeah, it's funny because I probably wig out on people that most people won't. But
really?
Then there's some people that everybody will wig out on. One of the people that I don't wig out on hardly anybody, but I was crazy about Layla Hathaway. She's a great friend of mine now, but she was somebody that I was just like, I'm still in awe of, even though we're great friends. But another person that I've always been crazy about, and I met her, and I really, honestly, I just went and sat down. I couldn't even talk.
What you do?
It was Janet. Like, I couldn't even talk. She was talking to me. She said, "You want some?" I was like, "I'm good." I just went and sat down. And BB introduced us, and he went somewhere, and he said, "Oh, God, I got to go back because I don't know if Donald ain't going to talk to us. Is he going to just go in the corner, just not say nothing?" Because it was just us in a room, and I freaked out on that one. That one, I'm a huge fan. Like, I mean, always been. I will always be a huge fan of her. So, I met her, and that was probably the one time where I really probably act like a fan.
What about if it was what's Blanche's name? What's her name? Rue McCallum? What's her name?
Oh, you're talking from Golden Girls?
Yeah.
It would be when she's passed on. It would be B. Arthur for me.
It would be B. Arthur?
That would be my favorite. Like, that sarcasm that lives in me. I have to bind that.
Are you serious?
Oh, I'm the worst sarcastic.
I do not see that.
You just don't know me. I'm telling you. People don't know. I keep all of that away, but that sarcasm that she lives for, I have to catch that. That'll roll out of me in a minute.
I love it.
Yeah, that was some great writing. So again, I listen to the writing too. So it's some great writing.
Much success to you, man.
Likewise, man. You too. You doing your thing.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
And my prayer is that when that theater opens, and I mean, just when it first opens, and that first show that's there, it could be BB's show, it could be something, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That I am there.
That would be great.
Yeah, man, to see, because I've been doing this for 28 years.
Yeah, I kind of remember when you started. Yeah.
Yeah, you was around that time.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So watching you come up through the ranks and thrive, I want to be a part of that to take it to the next.
I got you. That would be great.
Dimension.
That would be really, really great. I'm actually doing with Goshen. I decided I did it with theater in mind, but I thought of it being dance theater. So I partnered with a company in Chicago called Deeply Rooted, which is kind of like an A-Lead type group in Chicago. We're actually premiering a workshop version of it, which means it goes to stage at the end of the year. So it's like Goshen put the dance theater though. So it'll be like dancers tell a story with a choral rap. So it's kind of unique because it hasn't really been done that way before. It's like so we're doing that in the end of the year, and then Broadway Chicago is going to do it. So a couple of presentations next summer, but the goal is to put it on tour that way internationally. Yeah, that's my goal for that project.
So I think that when you have, God graces us to do different things, and sometimes when I know for me when it's time to move to another season, when my grace to operate in the current season is lifting, and I know when it's lifting because stuff gets, I change, I become a different kind of person.
I understand. Mm-hmm.
So I wonder for you, do you feel the grace lifting in one area and kind of ushering you over into that area? Because I mean, you sound very passionate about theater, bro. Like
I've always been. Just people just know that. I've always been more passionate about theater than records than anything. That's what I.
So that's next.
That's next. That's next. That's
Hey!
probably
Okay.
yeah. That's definitely next. I would say that's next, and probably really doing a little bit more choral work internationally because they keep me over there now. So I've been really enjoying understanding how to teach what we do technique wise.
I saw the video.
Yeah,
I was super impressed.
Yeah, I go quite a bit, so I'm loving Europe a lot too. So, but I also always make. I ain't gonna say I'm always make albums, but I'll definitely make records in this particular time. I think it's a lot to make a record now. I mean, meaning that you get 1 to 2 songs out of it. And I'm like, I could have just gave you 1 great song a year and been good, rather than just like you get 2 and then the other 8 that are great are just wasted there. So I kind of am leaning more like that now. And you know, it's just a different time with the way people make records and deliver material. They deliver it really fast, and then they move on. So it's like if you put a record out, it's just kind of you have. I think about songs. I don't just go like you got 1 hit, then the rest of them are B cuts. I'm just not from that world. I'm a full body project person.
Okay.
I come from that era, so I just think now like, hey, maybe just do 1 song every now and then, not like really waste it all on a whole album.
Nothing wrong with that either, man.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Down to lunch, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Likewise.
And much success again in all that you do, brother.
Thank you, man. Thanks a lot. And again, you doing your thing, man. So I'm really, really happy for you and family and just watching you come up and do your thing too. And that voice, you need to be doing a lot of other things too, man. Yo, you talking about expanding. Like you got that movie voice. You got that actor voice, boy. I mean, really, you could do a lot of voiceovers as well.
I appreciate it, man.
It's great.
Keep it where you've got it. KD Bowe Show. Donald Lawrence. I made it weird. Okay, just trying to do the voice. I made it weird. Okay, appreciate you, boss.
Likewise, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Indeed.